This is the Down the Shore Marketing Podcast, Drinks and Design Podcast. And my name is Ashish.
I'm CJ.
And we're here to review two bourbon whiskeys today. The first one is going to be a Redemption Bourbon from Indiana. And we have the Blade and Bow Bourbon from Kentucky. And so let's get started. So let's start first with the bourbon whiskey from Indiana, the Redemption Bourbon. We are going to be looking at the mash bill, which is, it was around 75% corn. We were looking at 21% rye and 4% malted barley. I'm guessing this will have a little bite to it. So let's see what this is all about.
Now, what are the three parts you have to look out for?
So let's try the nose first.
All right.
And then let's see the taste on the palate. And then the finish.
What's the finish?
The finish is what happens literally after you've drunk the whiskey. And
how long after?
Maybe a few seconds.
Maybe longer.
Maybe longer. Who knows? If it's a long finish, it'll be longer.
I think.
Salute.
Very light smell.
Yeah. I can definitely smell the caramel.
It just smells kind of sweet, but very light. I can barely smell it.
Yeah, I was expecting a little bit more rye flavors to come through, that spiciness, but I don't smell that on the nose right now.
Yeah, I was expecting to smell it from here. I can barely smell it.
Yeah, this is very, very light. All right, let's taste it.
What's the second thing you do?
The second thing you do is the palate.
You take a sip, like you swirl around like wine.
Mm-hmm.
Gargle with it. I need more to gargle. So what does the swirling tell you?
So I can taste the cracked pepper. I can taste there's a bitterness that's definitely a product of the rye. I've tasted bourbons which have less rye in them. I can literally taste the rye in this guy.
Yeah.
The rye in this guy.
Smooth.
It's definitely very smooth. It's a nice balance of corn and rye that they've managed in this one.
I can't taste much of anything at all. Like at first I can't taste anything on my tongue, but then I get the bitterness and the burning in the back of my throat like I'm drinking whiskey.
Yeah, that's what happens. It doesn't have a lot of play on the tongue.
Do you know the difference between whiskey, rye, and bourbon? Is it just the kinds of grains?
Yeah, it's the mash bill that changes, right? Which means the composition of the different grains that are put in.
All right. Well, I can't taste it on my tongue, but I can taste it in the back of my throat.
Now there you go. But this is I think a like $30 bottle, I would say, and this is on the lower end of the bourbons. You can get a $20 bottle, I guess, but this is still on the lower end, so it doesn't have that very strong character going on.
Yeah,
it's drinkable, but I would say this is not like a sipping bourbon. You know, it's more of a
shot bourbon,
or maybe even a cocktail bourbon.
Out in Indiana, they don't sip.
They just do shots. Yeah, so I guess that's the reason why. But this is very popular. What we're going to do next is a little bit more exclusive and newer. But this is not bad if you want to do like cocktails and just do shots and things like that.
Well, I find a problem with the logo. Like they didn't set the type very well for Redemption. I mean, they got the curved at the top. They have the serif font and they have the handwritten font for the bourbon. And they try and do some things with the 42% alcohol, 84 proof, which is the same thing, with the batch number with different typefaces to make it look more unique. But I don't know.
It's very old school, and they tried to do that on
five
purpose.
typefaces on one stupid thing.
Which is what they did back then, I guess. They just kind of slammed different typefaces together. Maybe I've seen these old shows, spirit shows, and I can tell.
There's one typeface usually because I can't afford one. Because they could set all the crap by hand. Ugh.
Yeah. That's what they did, I think, back in the day, right?
When I used to live in the city, I worked for printers, and all the printers had their old letter-set machines out in the lobby because they don't use them anymore because they use computers. They used to do everything by hand. It was such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, of course, that's what they did. So that explains the different font typefaces that you see out here. The other thing to note is that this company, Deutsch Distilling from Indiana.
What's it called?
It's Deutsch, German. I don't know.
Deutsch.
Maybe it's Deutsch. Yeah.
Deutsch, Dutch, German.
Dutch, German. Okay.
Deutsch is German for German.
German for German.
German
yeah.
for German.
Deutsche Welle.
Because when I grew up, I learned that my ancestors were Pennsylvania Dutch, and I used to always think I was Dutch. But Pennsylvania Dutch was Deutsch. It was a way for during World War I and World War II for people in Western Pennsylvania who were from Germany to kind of get by and say, oh, we're not German, we're not the bad guys, we're Dutch.
I see. Okay.
So when they say Deutsch, they mean German.
Gotcha. Just one thing about this guy is that this company is more of a rye shop, so they take great pride in their rye products. So the bourbon is definitely very rye driven. So it's different from most.
There's a high rye content. Okay.
Very high rye content. Most other people use more corn, and that's why their bourbons taste different. Even this one is not aged as much. This is like aged for as long. This is aged for around 2 years. So that's why you don't have that very deep flavor going on. It's smooth. It's easy drinking. There's a big difference between the bourbons that I've drunk in the past. Like, for instance, if you compare this with Blanton's, which is a $200+ bottle.
Same company though, right?
I don't think so. Blanton is a different company. That has a much stronger bite. It has a lot more flavor. And I'm hoping this other bottle that we're going to try will have that same kind of character going on, which we don't see in this bottle. But it's still a good buy for the money. It's around $30-$40 bottle. It's
got a cool looking bottle. If you bring it to the party, they'll think you're cool.
I think so. Get your bottle at Cobblestone Wine Spirits.
So how's the website?
The website is actually nice. I liked it. I like the play on the dog theme, and they have a pretty interesting website. It's relatively simple, and I think nice and graphic, especially when explaining the nose and the palate and the finish and everything. They've explained the composition.
Oh, they explained the 3 elements that you showed before?
Yeah. So they actually done that. So that's pretty impressive, which most of the people don't do. The interesting part is this company actually told us about the mash bill, meaning what it contains, right? 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley. And I'm suspecting that the other one out here has not done so, but I'll let CJ look into that because he's done all the research. So with that, let's move on to the next guy.
Okay. Here we have Blade & Bow. It's got this 5 key things going for it. I'll tell you about that. It's not as cool as it looks.
I like the bottle actually.
Okay, he likes the bottle. I like your bottle better. You like my bottle better.
There you go. I like the key out here. Look at this.
Blade & Bow is a Kentucky whiskey. It pays tribute to the renowned craftsmanship of legendary blah 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 blah. Well, get rid of that. So, Blade & Bow are the 2 parts of a skeleton key: the blade and the bow. So that's how it's called. Blade & Bow.
That's what it is. Okay.
And they have part of their marketing system the 5 keys that hang on the door of the Stitzel-Weller distillery, and the 5 keys symbolize grain, all the parts that go into the bourbon.
Isn't
Grains,
that the
yeast, fermentation, distillation, and aging. And they have a sort of Pokemon, you gotta collect them all thing, where they have different bottles have different keys, and you're supposed to drink all the bourbon and find all 5 keys, and then you'll be in the 5 key club. Kind of like when you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh with your kid, and you gotta find all the 5 parts of Exodia, which is the coolest thing ever apparently, and they're really expensive. So if you find the 5 keys, you send them an email message, and then you're in the 5 key club. It doesn't really tell you what you get. I think you're just in the club. Or they send you a letter.
Maybe a coupon or something in your room?
Nope, nothing.
Nothing? Okay.
They send you to the doctor because you're an alcoholic. So, but it'd be pretty good. So let's try it out. Did you pour it? I'll discuss more about it.
The distillery that you mentioned, this Schnitzel distillery, that reminds me that distillery was formed, or at least one of the founding members was the guy behind the Pappy Van Winkle bourbon, which is one of those very famous expensive bourbons. But you can look into it, and I think it is true. But the funniest thing is they have literally mentioned Schnitzel distillery 8 times around on this bottle. Almost.
Say it faster.
Schnitzel Witzel. It's
Not
literally.
schnitzel. It's schnitzel.
I'm not Jewish. I'm not supposed to know these
Yeah,
things.
Schnitzel's German. Schnitzel is a way you cook veal.
Okay. All right. So
So it's
Schnitzel.
Stitzel.
Stitzel. Okay.
It's a last name.
All right. Thank you. The Dutch guy explains it to me. All right. So it's been mentioned a lot. So that's the reason why they're trying to play on that name, and they want to kind of emphasize the fact that it's a very high end bourbon. But let's give it a shot.
Well, they're playing off the history. They're trying to reintroduce the history. The brewery, the distillery was shut down in 1920, but they still had some of the old barrels of the bourbon, and they're trying to, through the marketing, trying to reintroduce the bourbon and reintroduce the idea and bring back the history. So
Okay. Pre-prohibition.
that's exactly what I say. Okay, that's good. And collect all 5 keys, and then you get your Pokemon.
It's almost the same color as a Redemption bourbon. Nothing
A little
different.
darker, I think.
Once you pour it out, I guess I can't tell the difference.
Okay.
But cheers.
What are the 3 aspects again?
Nose
Smell it?
first. Yep.
This is a lot more pungent. I can smell it back here now.
Definitely.
And
Pungency,
it's more like a
spice. Definitely anise spice going on.
It's more like, oh yeah, I regret buying this.
Cracked pepper, caramel on the nose.
But like it tastes more. Like you can taste it when you're tasting it, as opposed to the burn in the back of the throat.
Easy, CJ. We're going by the nose. Look, you did the palate.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm skipping ahead.
That's all right. Okay.
Got to read the directions, young man. So what's next? No, come on.
The palate.
You skipped ahead now.
I thought you would leave.
That was the palate, or was that the?
I just slipped.
That was the aftermath.
No, I finished the nose. I moved on to the palate.
Okay, palate. How much do you drink for the palate?
As much as you want.
Okay.
If you have a big palate,
Big palate.
you drink more.
People always have a big palate. But it tastes good, and it doesn't burn the back of my throat as much as the Redemption did.
It burns your tongue though.
It doesn't burn my tongue at all.
Not really. I feel it on my tongue. I can sense the spices and the cracked pepper.
I can taste the cracked pepper. I can taste the hints of it there. It said hints of pear, hints of
cooked fruit.
Yeah.
Definitely the compote. Right. That's definitely very, very
I should have done my
obvious.
homework better.
You don't taste that in this Redemption, right? That's for sure. This one has definitely those bold flavors coming through. Caramel, spices, anise, baking spices. It's very characteristic. It's very, very. It has a good personality. That's for sure.
The Stitzelweller Distillery stopped brewing and stopped distilling in 1920. It was bought by a company, and they reintroduced the idea. They took some of the old whiskey and old bourbons, and they utilized the same ideas, the same brewing system to start up again. And they use what's called a Solera system, where it's the same system to make fine sherry, which isn't a positive thing, I think, because who drinks sherry? But
Fraser does.
Fraser? He was canceled.
I know. I love Fraser.
Oh, okay.
What do you do?
What's his brother, Nigel?
Nigel or I forget his name now. But they drank sherry all the time.
They did?
They did. Every single
In Boston, who cares?
I know.
But the
Boston
point
or
is still-
Seattle.
Oh, yeah,
Seattle.
yes.
Seattle. Cheers was in Boston.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I should do my homework. So they take some of the bourbon that's 20 years old, some of the bourbon that's 5 years old, and some of the bourbon that's 2 years old, and they mix it together to create distinct tastes for their bourbon every year. So that's how they regulate it. So I'm not really sure what that means, but it kind of reminds me of the little jellies you get at diners, where sometimes it's strawberry, sometimes it's grape, and sometimes it's mixed berry. My dad always told me, well, it's mixed berry because they didn't have enough grape, they didn't have enough strawberry together and marmalades. They mixed it all together. So that could be that, or it could be because it tastes better. I don't know.
Yeah, they I think this is similar to a system that they use in wines as well. They mix different vintages to arrive at a flavor profile which is acceptable, so to speak, to that time in case in time. So if in 2019, say they want to have a very fruity wine, they can mix and match to produce that wine.
The newer wine, the older wine together.
Exactly. They put more of the newer wine, less of the older wine. In
Okay.
2020, if people's tastes change and they say, well, we want to make it more tannic or less fruity, then they kind of mix and match accordingly.
Okay.
So I think that's what they're trying to do out here as well with the Solaris system. So it's a little distiller's prerogative going on.
Oh, kind of like Steve Martin, the jerk, where he goes, "This wine's 20 years old. That's old wine. That's some new wine. Don't get this old stuff."
Let's drink some more.
Yeah.
I like this. I'm preferring this to the
Because we're getting a
Redemption
better
Rye.
shot. Much better.
Much better.
I can't pull myself first. That's
No.
inhospitable. So, Solera liquid is mingled with 5 other fine whiskeys aged and distilled at the Schnitzelweller Distillery. They won a gold medal at the 2015 San Francisco Spirits Competition. I don't know why it's not a newer one, but they have a nice recipe. They have 5 or 6 recipes. I'll tell you about the website next. One was for muddled old fashioned. Now, muddled old fashioned is kind of like a mull wine because to make a mull wine, you mix up all the berries and you mash them together and you put in the cheap wine to make a mull wine. Now, this is a muddled old fashioned where you take a teaspoon of sugar, you mash it together with 2 orange peels, 2 dashes of bitters, whatever the hell that is, and 2 ounces or 3 ounces of bourbon. And then, unlike a mull wine, you drink this cold. So this is, they look pretty good. I think I'll try it. So this is some reviews. I would tell you that this bourbon is at least as good as Pappy's 20-year-old and perhaps as good as a 23-year-old for a fraction of the cost.
That's something.
So go back to the 5 Keys Club. The 5 keys are the grains, yeast, fermentation, distillation, and aging. And if you've collected all 5 keys, we are now able to commemorate the friends of the brand in all 50 states. Visit the 5 Keys Club page for updates and more information on how to join. There aren't any things you don't get a T-shirt.
You don't get
like
anything,
that.
I think. Yeah, that's weird.
I don't like the bottle, but
It's a classic bottle, though.
the debossed, leather-looking like logo was wrapped around a circle, which is kind of 80s, but it's still a pretty cool logo. The website's very good. It looks like a one-pager, but over on the right there's a pop-up menu, pop-in menu, which is kind of annoying. But then you go to the certain links. There's a great page of merchandise you can buy. They have like T-shirts. They have sifters. It's a really cool thing where you put together, you put water in it, and it makes a little globe of ice.
Oh, yeah.
So you can create a cup with one big ice cube up, which is pretty cool.
Well, you have to wait though for the ice to melt.
Yeah, you have to wait for the ice to freeze.
And melt.
It's like there's people who can take the ice, the big block of ice, and make it into a sphere, which is pretty cool.
It's maybe for all those people who make cocktails, this thing, right? You
Wait,
throw
one
that.
big, instead of having like a whole bunch of ice, you have one big cube. I thought it was pretty cool.
Right.
And I'd buy that.
Maybe I think I'm guessing you might need that for making a sour or something. Like
Yeah,
you have
for being
citrus.
cool.
Yeah, it's
I've
cool.
got one cube.
One cube.
Big cube. Bigger than your head.
With some lime.
Yeah. So it has some great recipes on there. And it's done HTML. It's using a content management system. It's really pretty good. It's very, the website is very well configured. So I really liked the recipes. We'll post them. They had an a regular old fashioned, a Manhattan, a Gold Rush, and a mint julep. That would look pretty good.
Mint julep, yeah, that sounds like fun.
And they've on the rocks.
Do they have a sour?
Why is that a recipe? It's bourbon and ice. No, it's ice and bourbon.
Ice and bourbon. Do they have a sour?
Nope.
That's surprising because this would go well with that whole sour thing.
What's the sour thing?
Sour is like basically just citrus.
Sour mix?
Juice. Yeah. You throw this in with this sour mix and that's pretty much it.
Well, sour mix is sour mix. We used to do that when we make Windexes. We do like blue Crisco, vodka, sour mix, and 7-Up. Then we used to have
There you go.
pub nights on Thursday nights in college. And I used to have, some people call them blue balls, but I call them Windexes because blue balls is kind of creepy. But if you drank too much, it made your poop green.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers to green poop. Clink. So just to review, I really like I don't know, but what do you think? The Blade and Bow? I think the Blade and Bow wins.
I think so. Yeah.
It's cheaper.
No, it isn't.
Oh, I take it back.
No. This guy is like
It was
30, 40
freer.
bucks. This guy is like 50 to 60 bucks. This is like 20 to 30 bucks, maybe a little bit more based on where you are.
The Blade and Bow is worth it.
I think so. The Blade and Bow is definitely more character, more oomph to it compared to the Redemption bourbon.
Yeah, the Blade and Bow you can drink. The Redemption you need to put in with lots of Diet Coke to make it taste
Yes,
good.
or whatever you want.
To make your wife drink
make
it.
it
She wouldn't drink
reasonable,
it
yeah.
straight.
Yeah.
But probably they wouldn't drink either one straight. So Blade and Bow had a better website, has better graphic design, I feel. Redemption seems kind of like they stole it off of a cover of an old Clint Eastwood movie. But I don't mean to make fun of yours.
Well, the branding is definitely on point for the Blade and Blow.
Blade and Blow.
Blade and Bow.
And the key thing is kind
And
of
the
cute.
key thing is very cute.
But
I have
only
to
if
say.
you're into Pokemon.
Yeah, but either way, the blade is it's unmistakable, right? It's one of those things that even in wine, I noticed like if you have a good branding, it sells a lot. And this is
Is that gonna make you want to drink it though? Does that make you want to go, oh, that you're reaching for something and you see, ooh, a key?
well, you know what? I think it's just a matter of it's a visual. It doesn't really matter what's in it sometimes, but
Okay.
is that
Like when people who drink
Right.
Coors Light because they know it tastes like shit but it looks cool in their hand.
Exactly, that's what it is. That explains the power of branding, right? And that's the business we are into is branding. Not that we want to sell shit, but that's what it is.
Selling keys
Selling keys.
with the blade and the bow.
There you
The
go.
skeleton key.
There you go.
What's nice?
It's good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so there you have it. This guy's the winner. Blade and Bow. It's more expensive, of course. You can get it again at
And worth
Cobblestone Wine and Spirits. Definitely worth it. But this is good if you want to mix it with cocktails. Just have for fun.
You can find these two bourbons and many others at Cobblestone Wine and Spirits.
Absolutely.
They're very helpful and they will steer you in the right direction.
Okay, so find yourself a good bottle at the store. And until then, we will see you next time. Have a good one.
Thank you. Again, it's
Down the Shore Marketing. I'm Ashish.
I'm CJ.
And see you next time.
This is Drinks and Design Podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you.